welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'm gonna be talking through all the books I want to reread in the near future. So if you guys seen my March wrap-up, I started The Hunger Games trilogy reread. I've had so much fun revisiting that world and the story that I decided that maybe I want to reread more. So that was the inspiration behind this video. Most of the books I'm going to be talking through about are my favorite books. So obviously this is the reason why I want to revisit the world. I remember loving those books and I just want to revisit it, especially taking into account the times that we're living in right now. Without further ado, let's get to the books that I hope to reread soon. The first book is my all-time favorite series, and it's the Harry Potter series. Anybody shocked? No? That's what I thought. I'm a 90s kid, so Harry Potter was my go-to book series when I was growing up. I was growing up together with these characters, and what is better than revisiting this magical world in the times when the reality is not that great? So yeah, I'm super excited. I've been meaning to read Harry Potter again for the longest time, and I always kind of push that need away from me in order to read some new books. But I think now I'm ready to reread these again. I'm very much looking forward to it. I think what I'm gonna do, hopefully I can start this month, if not next month, and I want to read each book and then watch the corresponding movie to see how the books differ from the movies and what I think of them. I've reread the series a couple of times already from start to finish, but I don't remember the middle books that well because I always start with the first one. I think the first two are the books that I've read the most, and also the seventh one is another one that I've read multiple times. But the ones in the middle I read maybe twice or three times altogether, and it's been such a long time since I actually read them fully. So I think it would be interesting to see what I think of them. Perhaps I will find my new love, or maybe I'll find something different to what I remember from my previous rereads. Obviously now reading it as an adult, it's going to be so much different to what it was for me when I was reading it as a child or a teenager. Definitely very much looking forward to it, and this is on my priority list for the rereads. Hopefully I'll get to it soon. I'm not planning to read back to back any of those books. I think that would be too much, but maybe one or two books, especially the shorter ones. I could potentially read 2 books in a month, and then we'll see how it goes. But I definitely want to reread this and get back to this magical world and back to my childhood, really. Okay, next up we got The Shadow of the Wind. This is the Spanish edition. I actually don't have any English edition with me, so this is the original version. I do speak a little bit of Spanish, but not nearly well enough to read this book in the original language in Spanish. I will be picking this up in English. So this is the first book in the series about the Cemetery of Forgotten Books. It's probably my favorite book of all time. We follow a young Daniel Semper who is taken by his father to the Cemetery of Forgotten Books, and he has to pick one book that he'll be guarding throughout his life and trying to keep the book alive, and so it's not gonna be forgotten. Daniel finds himself really attached to the book that he's chosen, which is The Shadow of the Wind, and is trying to find out more information about its author. So we follow Daniel's story as he's trying to find out more information about the book that he loves and the author that he loves, only to find out that all the books have been destroyed apart from the only copy of The Shadow of the Wind that he owns currently. So yeah, there's a lot of mystery. This book is written in such a beautiful way. I actually just read a couple of first sentences in the book and I immediately want to read the whole story. This book is taking place after the Civil War and happened in Spain, and it's set in Barcelona. Barcelona is one of my favorite cities that I've visited. I absolutely love it. It has so much history and so much beauty to it, and this book is a love letter to the city. The detail that's been described in this book about the life in Barcelona, about the city, about the little alleyways, everything is just an amazing experience. Absolutely amazingly written in a flowery but not overly flowery way. It has a lot of metaphors, but also the way the book is written, you can feel yourself immersed in Barcelona of that time, and it's absolutely amazing. I highly recommend for you to pick this up, perhaps together with me when I'm doing the reread. I absolutely love it. My favorite book of all time. This is also the first book in the series of 4 books. I've only read this one and the second one, so what I would like to do is reread the first 2 and then continue on with the series. Hopefully I'll get to it very quickly, very soon. I need to get my English copy before I can do it, because I honestly don't think I can read this in Spanish. But either way, very much looking forward to getting back to this story and experiencing this beautiful writing and very mysterious, well-structured story. Highly recommended. Okay, the next book that I want to mention is a fantasy classic, and it is The Lord of the Rings. I know, I absolutely love this story. I love the movies, I love everything about it. I've read this series only in my native language and only on audiobook, so I'm very much looking forward to rereading this series in a physical copy and also in English, which I think is gonna be amazing. I'm very much looking forward to it. I think it's always best to experience the story in the language that it was written originally in, so I'm very much looking forward to diving right into this. I remember loving this book so much. I think the best part about these books, apart from Tolkien's world building, which is hands down the best world building I've ever read in my entire lifetime, are the friendships described in this book. Honestly, the friendship between Legolas and Gimli is my all-time favorite friendship in all the books that I've ever read. I think the way that it's developing, it's in the most amazing and wonderful way. So obviously this book is full of tropes, such as enemies to friends, the Dark Lord, the war between the good and the evil, but this book is a classic book. It's been published in 1966, so this is the originator of many of the tropes that we see right now. So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to rereading this in physical format in English. So I want to reread the whole series, plus I want to read The Hobbit as well. I've read The Hobbit most recently, I think probably 2 years ago, on audiobook in English. But definitely want to reread it in physical form. I would also love to read the Silmarillion, which is basically a mythology, if you will, of this whole world. So it's stories before the events of The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings happen, the tales of the beginning of the Middle Earth and all this additional legends. So I think after finishing this reread, I would love to get to the Silmarillion, which I've never read, so this actually doesn't fit in this video, but it doesn't matter. I would definitely love to reread The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings, and if I feel adventurous enough and if I want to stay in that world still, I will get to the Silmarillion as well. Another favorite of mine, which I only read last year but I absolutely loved, was Station 11. This book actually took me by surprise. It is a science fiction book. This is a science fiction book, but it's a very subtle one. So this book is written in dual timeline. There are chapters in which we follow the events of when the deadly virus outbroke for the first time, and there are chapters that are set 20 years later which follow the handful of survivors. This is probably not the best time to reread the story, but definitely when things calm down, I would like to get back and reread this story. I remember around February I started thinking about this book when the news were coming in, and I just couldn't stop thinking about this book, how these people reacted to the deadly virus outbreak, and I was just constantly thinking about this book. So this book has been on my mind for months now, and I don't think I would want to reread this right now because I feel like I may go crazy, but definitely in the near future. In a nutshell, this book talks about things that you would like to preserve in case of the world end or in case of the major disaster. Highly recommend. Really good book. I will be definitely picking it up again soon. And finally, the last book that I want to talk to you about today will be a book by Virginia Woolf, and it is Mrs. Dalloway. I read this book first time when I was in high school and getting ready for A-levels equivalent in my country, and I absolutely loved the way this book was written. So Virginia Woolf is one of the authors who first experimented with the new way of writing a book, and this book is written in a stream of consciousness of our main protagonist, Mrs. Dalloway. Essentially, we follow Clarissa Dalloway as she's getting ready for the party that she's throwing. We follow her as she's running her errands around London. Whilst she's running errands, we get to experience her life and memories as they are triggered by either people or things that she sees during her regular day. It's written in such a wonderful way. It greatly captures the way that a person's mind works, how one thing can trigger some deep down emotion or memory, and this is how we get to know Clarissa and her story. I didn't like Clarissa as a person per se, but it was so interesting to get into her story and to see how her mind works. It's absolutely mind-blowing. So definitely would like to read this one again and just to dive into this magnificent writing and into this stream of consciousness again. Virginia Woolf is one of the authors that I want to read more of, and I think to get into her writing style, because it's not easy, it's by no means an easy story to read, because you're essentially in the mind of another whole new person. This is definitely a revolutionary way of writing a character, which is super interesting, and I definitely would recommend to pick up this one, and I'll definitely be picking up some more Virginia Woolf in the near future, hopefully, because I think she's a great author and I really adore her. Alright guys, these are all the books that I wanted to chat about with you today. Please let me know in the comments if you like to reread books yourselves, and if so, what would be on the top of your to be reread pile. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for some more bookish content. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again with another video soon. Bye!